Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to a brand new video over here on the LeaIsChill YouTube channel. Today, I had my 10-year anniversary here on YouTube, technically like 11 days ago now. It's May 25th, but it was actually on the 14th of May. And I didn't really have a thing to celebrate, honestly. And so I wanted to kind of sit down a little bit and do a little bit of reflection on things. And talk about what YouTube has been for me over the last little while. Because God knows, like, I've been here through a lot of phases over the YouTube, like, algorithm. Not only in my own creation of content, but also just in general, like, watching people. I've always been more of a viewer. But let's talk about some stuff right now, shall we? I guess mostly what I wanted to talk about is when I first started YouTube back in 2011, like, it was the, like, most lame thing you could possibly think of. I was like, oh god, so I'm 22 right now, so I would have been 12 at the time. I was a 12-year-old that had, like, a random flippy camera, and I recorded myself talking about, like, PSN being down at the time. I lived my life on PSN because I would play fucking Crisis 2 and SOCOM 4 and shit like that. Because the PS3 was like my only console I ever had. Well, it was like PS1, PS2, PS3, and then like DS's. So yeah, I just remember that being like a major part of why I started in the first place. And then I used that flip camera to record my computer screen to play Portal. And then I used that camcorder to record Infamous 2, and I did that in like, some parts would be 12 minutes, then my storage would fill up and the next episode would be 4 minutes because it stopped in the middle. It's a really funny time back then. I was basically like creating DSP videos from back in the day, and it was really funny to me. I remember there was one time my friend and I wanted to record the Resident Evil 6 demo because it had just come out and it had like a snippet of all 3 of the campaigns. So a friend of mine named Blastoise and I decided to record it on PS3. I set up the camcorder next to me while I played, pointing at the TV, trying to make sure there was no glare, so I turned it away from like the light that I had inside the room, but I needed the lighting anyway because I couldn't see my controller. I had headphones recording the audio behind me on my computer, and like I was trying to separate it so it would sound a little bit better. And then I ended up editing all together inside ScreenFlow on the Mac back in the day, and it looked like shit. And I remember feeling so bad about it. But it's those sorts of memories that you kind of remember and laugh at, you know? And it's those sorts of things that you kind of end up creating moments for yourself in. And I think that over YouTube, we've had plenty of those. Early on in my... So, I want to say I didn't actually, like, do YouTube until, like, mid-2017, I would say. Roughly around there. I pretty much started BBS properly in mid-2017. And started actually creating like summon videos and stuff like that. Before that, I was doing just extremely long form RPGs. Like I played Tales of Berseria all the way through. Tales of Berseria was the series that I was so intent on and put so much effort into, even the editing. It is unbelievable. Like looking back at it, just how much I cared about it. And I honestly kind of feel happy I beat it. I did the Attack on Titan game when it first came out and was super hype about it. But when I started doing gacha content, I think something kind of changed in general. I started to make like very jokey clickbait thumbnails just for the sake of like doing it. And I found a lot of success in it. To the point where it kind of started to bother me a little bit, just how well these ended up working. And the examples of that is like, Spiritual Awakening. I had like a swimsuit thumbnail for the first video because that was just what I ended up doing. And it was one of the most popular videos on my channel after I released it. And I remember feeling like, man, that's what people value, huh? It definitely kind of changed my mind on things a little bit. And once I got to like mid reinvoke phase, that kind of broke inside me entirely, and I got to a very like strict like no horny rule when it came to thumbnails. Just in general, it wasn't even with the intention of like, I always tried to make my thumbnails ironic, I think, is the way I would put it. So like even in the Smash Tap thumbnails, I would put a bunch of effort into having the like super horrible looking full cowl, because I found the best part of content is when you laugh at the video before even clicking it. And so like if you see someone's stream on Twitch and their title is something hilarious, you're more likely to click it because you're like, what the fuck is this guy saying? And I think that's what I tried to embrace in the early parts of YouTube. And then when my viewership kind of swayed in that direction, I started to feel uncomfortable. I went more like information when it came to reinvoke from there on out. I don't mind that, you know, but I'm not really like an information guy. Like, a lot of the reason why I'm having such trouble creating content right now is I'm not an information guy. I don't give a shit about breaking down your 900 pity banner on a gacha game, because that's fucking boring. I don't care about it. It's actually like -10 to my interest. And that's okay. Frankly, it's just like outside of the meta, I think, for me. And so that's also why YouTube has just kind of been this weird rocky place ever since Reinvoke. I think I haven't really had something that I really like latched onto since then. I liked Reinvoke to the point where it was a game that when I would wake up, I would think about it and I would want to go and do it because I really enjoyed the rotation of it. It felt very satisfying. When I wake up these days, the only game that I really like want to play for myself is Bleach Immortal Soul, but that's just because I've been doing dailies for so long that it feels like an easy habit, I think. Like even My Hero Strongest Hero, now that it's released, like I don't feel as if I'm intent on immediately hopping onto it in my daily life. I do feel as if, for me, here, I'll open up a bit. Let's talk about some actual like stuff that ongoes with me myself. I have diagnosed ADHD, and so hyperfixations are something that are definitely easy to weaponize in the case where you're able to actually latch onto something. But in my case, as of recent, the only things that I've latched onto are like manga, because everything else I've been enjoying is kind of fucking boring. Like, I care about some of these games that I play and the gacha games. I don't want to play Grand Cross right now because like I hyperfixated on it when it first dropped and really enjoyed it. I hit endgame and it became fucking boring. And similar thing happens with every other thing I've been touching on. But when I read Golden Kamui, for example, every single chapter I read, I felt like I needed to know more because of how much I loved it. And I scripted a whole like 3-page massive like essay on how incredible Golden Kamui was, and then didn't actually do anything with it. I recorded all the audio for it and then just didn't actually end up editing it. And that's where the hyperfixations go, right? And I think I tried to... So last year in 2020, before this pandemic stuff started, I originally set myself a goal where I would try and make an anime-based video talking about something I enjoyed that week or something that affected me positively or negatively that week over on Lee Does Things. It was going to be a weekly anime series where I would talk about something that I really enjoyed, and I was determined to do it. And then I made 2 videos and stopped. And that came from a place where it felt so overwhelming because I fixated on something, got everything down within 2 days, and then the rest of the 5 days that I didn't even touch it, it felt like I didn't fixate on the editing itself. And so it just kind of fell to the wayside, and I felt like shit because of it. The same thing happened this year. In 2021, I said I would complete 50 games for myself because I wanted to try and get some more knowledge about things that I haven't really been touching on. There's a lot of games that I haven't played for myself personally. A ton just flashed in my mind as I said that even. And so this year I've completed 4 games in total. One of them was Halo with Taizai, a couple of them were games I played on my own, DMC5 with Virgil, for example, Kingdom Hearts 3. And I kinda, like, don't feel satisfied with it, you know? Here, I actually want to fix the lighting. Looks like it's getting worse. That looks a bit better. There we go. But yeah, so because I've already finished a couple of games, I do think that I enjoyed playing console games, real games, non-mobile games a shit ton better, because when I fixate on playing it and like really get into it and enjoy it, I think the peaks that I hit when playing a DMC game for 5 hours straight are 10 times higher than when I play a My Hero game for 30 days straight, for like an hour a day, you know? And so it makes me wonder, like, where do I go from there, you know? I have a couple of ideas. The Chojin X video I made, for example, this last week, I think is very close to the format I want to use. I think that breaking down the story was a little bit much, and I can definitely adjust it in a way where I can make it more interesting and talk about manga I really enjoy. I have read a lot, and I really like the idea of a good story that has developments in so many different directions that it's easy to kind of speculate on different points of it. And so series like Golden Kamui, JoJo's Bizarre Adventure, stuff like that are things that I've loved forever and never talked about. And so here I am 10 years into my YouTube career, and I don't think I've ever really been a YouTuber. As weird as it sounds, right? Like, even in the times where I was like at my peak and I was like posting videos every day, trying to get like multiple for Reinvoke, trying to cover every update that came out, even during that time, I was more of a student at my college than I was like a YouTuber here. And I think that I've kind of held that for a long time. I've never really like fully committed, because when you commit to something, it's not only that you give yourself fully to it, it's also the act of, even on the days that you don't want to do it, continuing to think about it and forcing yourself to keep on confronting it because it's something that you care about for yourself. And I don't have that right now. On my off days these days, I'm not thinking about the next YouTube video I'm gonna make. I'm thinking about like the beach trip with my partner. I'm thinking about like going on a walk later on today. I'm thinking about like enjoying nature, for example. Naturally during the pandemic, it's gotten a lot harder. During the pandemic, like I'm like an ambivert, so like I need half my time to be spent out partying and doing a bunch of bullshit and having fun. I need half my time being inside and alone and doing nothing. And so missing out on that, like outside part of myself, definitely kind of kicked my ass and made my balance bleh over this past year. And I wish I was a YouTuber, you know? I wish I could be the kind of person who like stays up to 2 AM on an update day and creates 3 videos about, oh hey look, there's a new banner on Fest Merlin. Look, it's exciting, isn't it? Look, break it down. Oh look, she's cool. She has 2 skills. Congratulations, 6-minute video, blah! Oh, now I'm summoning. Oh, here's a showcase. This is all in one day, blah! I can't do that. I don't like doing that. I don't think I'm the kind of person who could sustain that. And I wonder how I could get closer to it, where I can kind of take the part where I'm actually creating content and doing stuff that I enjoy like that, and not making it feel like I'm tearing myself down to get each one of them done or get multiple done in a day to try and catch up to other YouTubers. I think that comparison is also something that people low-key subconsciously do. I mean, if someone posts 4 videos on one character and you post 1, they're probably gonna overwhelm the algorithm with that. And that's just how it goes. And they'll probably get recommended a shit ton more because their second video will get recommended after the first one instead of your first one. So, and then technically the first video built rapport with the person because they already watched it. So it's interesting how these things kind of develop. And I wish I could be there. So, I don't know. I wonder where the version of myself is where I'm actually like fully dedicated to it. Or if I wonder if I'm more of like a streamer type of person. But even then, like, I find it very stressful to like stream 4 hours a day. Because I feel like there's so many other things that I'm intent on. And yet, I really love YouTube, I think. I remember there was so much joy, like, hitting 1,000 and then 2,000 back in the day within a couple of days. It felt like something incredible was starting for myself, and I got so much anxiety because of it. I'm honestly, like, probably the most anxious person you'll meet. I'm just very good at masking it. Ta-da! I am like the weirdest bridge between introvert and extrovert, and yet my anxiety, because of things that have happened in the past, is like a 9 out of 10 in most situations. And so a lot of what I spend my time doing is trying to pull that down to be able to like actually meet people where they are. And it's fucking exhausting. It's tough, honestly. And I don't envy anyone else who feels the same way I do. I don't know if anyone can relate to this, but this is just something I wanted to share. And so I do wonder where the future goes from here. I think things that come to mind is like, if I hyper-fixated on a game on stream for like a couple of days, that can then become like a good 10-minute highlight video with just a couple of things strewn about. And you would get a lot of the enjoyment that I felt from that game in the highlights, I feel. Which is very close to kind of what my value is there. And I wonder if that's enough, you know? I wonder if that's something that I could dedicate myself to. And so, I don't know. It's been weird not being a YouTuber after doing YouTube for 10 years, you know? That's kind of what I feel like. So, I suppose thank you guys for watching. I don't really have like a firm conclusion, but this is kind of my thoughts on the matter. And so, after being on YouTube and seeing creators go up and down and seeing people that I looked up to, for example, kind of betray expectations, there was a couple of incidents just with different YouTubers either talking to them on Discord like once or twice and just being like bleh, or like hanging out in community for 8 years straight, like the late night community, and then having it fall apart the way it did. It sucks. And I feel worried about it, you know? It's tough to like enjoy a content creator when you're worried about them also being kind of scummy. And I hope that that's something I can get past as well, because that's like a weird judgment. In the end, I think YouTube is this weird mix of just shit thrown at a wall, and then whatever sticks, people will stick with. And I'm bad at throwing shit at a wall. I have learned that I am terrible at throwing shit at a wall, and I will try and improve for myself, because I've wanted to. And I'm here. Hopefully you guys enjoyed. Thanks for watching. Take it easy, and I'll see you guys next time. Bye, everybody.